since the government came in, we've had a plethora of reports. January 2011, Treasury publishing draft guidance on making savings. I'll come back to that in a moment. April 2011, National Audit Office. Where it is. 40 pages of reporting to PFI contracts. July 2011, this document came out. If you're interested in PFI, it's actually worth reading, certainly at least the executive summary. This is the government's view on how it can make savings in contracts. I'll come back to that one in a moment. At this point, then in August and September, in the UK, we have, in the government, in government makeup, we have these things called House of Commons committees, which are groups of MPs where they grill people. They really got stuck into it. So we've got the Treasury Committee's version of PFI. We've got the Committee of Public Accounts version of PFI. We've got the government response to the Public Accounts Committee, which is basically, yes, we agree with everything you said, but we disagree with all your conclusions and solutions. We then had, in November of 2011, the Chancellor stood up and said, PFI is all wrong, I'm going to do something about it, I want to consult with industry. That's where we are at the moment. I think the one thing that has become clear, and that's just this year alone, in all these various things, particularly the National Audit Office, the Treasury and the Public Accounts Committee reports, is the one thing that has come out loud and clear in that is that PFI has not demonstrated it offers value for money. That's not to say it isn't offering for value for money, it hasn't been able to demonstrate. Now, one could have a discussion about whether those committees were prepared to listen to an argument that suggested there was value for money, but nonetheless, as an industry, we haven't demonstrated that. And if it's going to carry on, we're going to have to do something about it there. The other thing that's picked up, and this is something we do, particularly my colleagues that specialise in facilities management, they sometimes go and review PFI projects that are not performing well. And I would say probably at least 50% of the time, the first thing we discover is that nobody's actually enforcing the contract. All those penalty deductions I talked about, because the documents, particularly the early PFI projects, you know, in the same way that they didn't tell the head they were building it, they kindly went away, they kind of sort of built it, and as they went out the door, they threw a contract at him and said, there you go, that's how you govern your school. And unless somebody actually reads it and explains it, he probably doesn't know that when those roofs are leaking, because the private sector probably aren't going to tell him. They're supposed to. They're supposed to say, by the way, you couldn't use those rooms on that day because the roof was leaking, but, you know, they might accidentally forget to tell him that. What else has it said? Not enough public sector experience, too much reliance on advisors like me. They were starting to make changes on that. Most of the government departments had created PFI units that were umbrella organisations. But it is true to say, you know, one of our main jobs on projects, you know, the first thing the client usually said to us is, so what are all your lessons learned from all the previous projects that went wrong, and how can we do something about it? You know, there is not enough talking, and there is not enough sharing of data. We're the ones that have got the data, not the public sector. So we're the ones that are telling them whether, you know, the rates being charged are reasonable, because we've worked on several projects.